The strange thing about being from Kentucky and living in New York City is that in Kentucky, you are the least Kentucky person you know, and in New York, you are the most Kentucky person you know. It leaves you fit to be nowhere. I loved New York. New York left me with this constant simmering anger just underneath the surface. And before I moved, the literal first time I felt anger, I was 25 years old and at Disney World. Some guy had gotten a little too close to my baby niece's stroller, and I felt this thing rise in me. And that man came this close to having his face ripped off by my teeth. And then she was safe, and it died back down until the MTA subway system woke it up again, and I found that I could shoulder check a motherfucker and I could stop people in their tracks with one look. New York made me hard in all the right places. No. New York is not magical for the bright lights of Broadway reasons that people think. New York is magical because literally anything can happen at any time. You could turn the corner and meet the person who's gonna make you a millionaire, or you could get knifed and left in a gutter. Rolling the dice like that just feels electric. And New York loved me too. It wasn't always the healthiest of relationships, and before I moved, I had worried that maybe New York would find me lacking, that I couldn't measure up. But New York looked me up and down and licked his lips, gave me a wink and cracked his knuckles. New York found me to be a worthy sparring partner. Oh, and New York is so charming, even when he doesn't smell good and when he makes you late for work, because he shows you all this amazing art and music and theater and exposes you to the most delectable pleasures and has you right there in the middle of history being made, and all you have to do to be a part of it is to just get punched in the face over and over and over again. Most often not literally, but between the commute to work and the late nights at the theater and the human feces on the street and having to carry everything you own on your back for the next 24 hours and never being able to do anything about the radiator heat and the gig life hustle coming off of people in reeking waves and the price of a mediocre gin and tonic, it feels like the closest comparison. You just take hit after hit after hit, and you wipe the blood off your nose, and you keep coming back because it is worth it. Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. Because you are breathing the same smog as Ice-T and Mariska Hargitay and the entire cast of Law & Order SVU, and you are looking at the same rivers as Nobel Prize winner Dr. Toni Morrison, and you are eating lunch directly beside John Turturro, who has ordered a salad niçoise, even though he really should be trying the eggplant rollatini. It is so worth it, until it's not. And then, if you're like me, you leave. Now, most people feel a lot of shame about leaving the city. It means you can't take it. Man, fuck that. I left at the top of my game. In my artistic life, my name was in the New York Times theater section, and in my other professional life, my office had a view of the Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building. And in my personal life, I had a 6'2" hockey player with a beard and tattoos whose primary goal in life was to bring me to multiple orgasms. And most importantly, I had laundry in the building. Why did I leave again? Oh, yeah, it was because I felt like I was dying, and like everybody I knew was dying, and it was just all so fake and corporate, and you didn't have to have any good qualities to succeed, and the deck was just stacked so high against you, and I didn't really love what I was doing anymore, and I didn't love the people I was doing it with, and I was just so achingly lonely all the time. And I never went uptown to the Met. I mean, who has time for that? And you don't want to deal with the crowds and the tourists. And I was going to wake up and be 40 and have no idea what I wanted to do anymore. That's why I left. And I told virtually no one. Not because I was embarrassed, but because I was embarrassed for them. There was no way for me to talk about why I was leaving and not punch holes in the armor that they had to wear every day just to exist. If they were going to leave the cult of New York City, they were going to have to put down the Kool-Aid themselves. I was not going to knock it out of their hands. Because I know what thirsty work New York is. And I know how sweet the drink goes down. So, all of this to say, I would go back. I mean, just for a little while, if he asked very, very nicely.